Ladies and gents, welcome to a Play All 3 in Titans League. This is the debut of TTL, so week 1 for two big names from our Chinese scene. We've got Yo playing as the Mongols, and then like his best bud, I feel. I mean, I don't know Yo's tier list of friends, but I mean, you know, someone that he's so close to and someone that is so beloved in our scene in Lix. Now, Lix was one of our promoted players from the previous season's Gold. He did very well. He went into the playoffs, if I recall, and ended up winning the playoffs and making his way here. But obviously, you make your way here, and now it's immediately, can you stay up, right? It's not a diss on Lix. It's just, you're the top 24 now. Best of luck to you because the competition is fierce here. And Yo won his group last time around in the group stage with 11 wins. He was 2 wins over second place, who was Leary. So, I mean, Yo is really good. And the thing about Yo is he's very consistent. So I feel like Yo brings a similar level anytime he's playing anything. And that consistency is what I think, does quite well in this type of format. Now, for Lix, I think you should look at every series against a big name, and there's going to be many of them, how players who have survived in the past have viewed it. Avoid getting 3-0'd, snag just 1 win, and then you should be happy. Yo, top 5 player, like one of the greatest of all time, Yo. You going to get your boar? What is this Dark Age? Yo? Honestly, it makes me sad because if I had this Dark Age, I would just, it would fall apart. Anyways, so that's how Lix is going to have to view it here. And he's picked a really good civilization to get a win for the first game. He's picked the Lithuanians. And Lithuanians are one of the best civilizations for this map due to all the relics on the map. And it's very open, and Lithuanians have solid scout opening. So we'll see how Lix plays. But I said before the game that this is the important thing to remember about Lix, those of you that get excited about him due to his messy reputation, is he's playing with the big boys now, and he got here by playing standard. He can play standard. But I think what you need is like standard opening, the openings that work for a reason, and then you switch into something that's a little extreme. That's essentially what he's going to have to do. That's what a lot of these guys who have stayed in Platinum with these big names have done in previous seasons. But yeah, really excited to see how these two perform. Moonwalking Boar. Did you see that? Moonwalking Boar has blessed this game. Whoop. And, Boar's excited. I'm excited. Hope everyone's excited for Platinum as we continue along here. But yeah, I'm very surprised that Yo picked Mongols here. And I don't know why. He's been chopping these straggler trees a ridiculous amount. It's been a very weird Dark Age. Almost looks like, yeah, he's going to go for an early barracks. This is very uncommon with the Mongols. So that explains why he was on those trees so heavily here. So he wants to maybe add militia. I definitely prefer the Lithuanians here. Like, Lithuanians could still achieve very fast uptime due to the additional 100 food that they have at the start of the game. So you don't really have to fear the Mongol scout rush that much because you could kind of be up at the same time. Yo's made his barracks. Yo's still pushing in another deer. Yo doesn't know where Lix is. And Yo's going to click up here. But this might be man-at-arms. It also could just be 2 militia combined with this. I could see Yo thinking, my scout rush won't be as effective against Lithuanians, so let's surprise him. But again, economically, there are just times where I'm looking at Yo and I'm just like, what are you doing here, pal? But he's trying to figure out this balance. And this is clearly something, though, that doesn't feel that normal for the Mongols. You guys can just see villagers walking all around, moving all over straggler trees, walking through the pigs and the sheep, going somewhere else, probably second lumber camp. Feels like he wants to go archers behind militia. I don't know. Anyways, Lix has moved out now. He's going to find Yo in a minute. And both players are going to be up at the same time. But really like Lix's opening here. And I think it's something I should have restated, like I did with the set with Leary, and like I will with like Viper and Tato and Hera when they play in Jordan. And Lix, don't you do that. Lix knows Yo's going to try and trap him. He's like, I dare you. Try it again. But, yeah, in theory, the best time to get wins against the big names would be in the first week because the big names will not have been practicing. I know that players who were promoted, who have come up to this league from Gold, I know there's been a lot of practicing going on, and I think they realize that their best chance is early before these guys really get to think a little bit about how to manage some of these situations, some of these maps. First game, fairly standard, though. I mean, it's nothing crazy, and it will be a scout rush for Yo. There will be a scout rush for Licks as well. And I like the confidence with some of those small movements here from Licks. Just being annoying here with this scout. And if this goes into a scout war, I would prefer the Lithuanians due to having the speedy spearmen. So we'll see how things play out here. T90, chicken sandwich or big hot hamburger? I'm a chicken sandwich guy. I eat a lot of chicken. Like a spicy chicken burger? Can it be like a spicy chicken sandwich? I'm all in on that for sure. So, enjoy. I just had some food prior to the stream. It was not anything as exciting. Scouts moving forward for Licks, or so it seems. But I mean, they're just playing safe. Both players trying to wall, but easily could lose villagers because there's a lot of walling that's required here. What changes have you made this season, T90? New maps, new settings, new rules. The idea is everything's the same. We did make a slight tweak to Lands Madness, so Lands Madness is a bit more open, and we did push a tweak last night where we moved some of the wolves for Zawal, but those are just changes to basically fix the maps to where I want them. We do not change things mid-season. It just changes the next season, and Lick's got housed. Like, this is just like an execution matchup here. Both players going scouts, and forgetting a house is pretty sloppy stuff here. You're down a villager because you forgot a house, essentially, and could be down scout numbers as well. So now there's a bit more pressure on Licks to get his mind right there. Licks does have 4 scouts. He hasn't played reactive with these scouts. And this should be a Vil kill. I think that Yo will have to wall this in as the spearman dies, but Licks blocks with that scout. That is very good execution. He knew he'd kill the spear, and so did Yo. But so Licks pulled one of those scouts away, and that now suddenly has killed the spearman, has killed a villager. This is still open. Yo can't do any damage to Licks, and Licks is able to roam around and potentially find more damage here. I mean, even again with one spear, he could try and kill that if he wants to. Yo on golds. Yo going to go archers as well, which is a little abnormal for this map. We haven't seen that too much, but could make sense with the spearman out. And there's a hole here, which Licks didn't scout, which feels odd to me. He had a villager here. Typically, you see the villager clicked over. But I think if he sees the scout here, he will know he has to... Like, there's no other reason why the scouts would be over here from where they were before. So I think that he'll realize that. And both players just microing scouts and spears right now. Damage could still be done. It's interesting how almost every high-level player uses box formation for the low numbers of scouts. So they're in a tighter formation. But Licks does not. You see how, like, yeah, his scouts are, it's just kind of like the standard scout grouping. It's very surprising. Anyways, sloppy stuff from both the times here to leave villagers exposed. It feels like we also should not congratulate, but we should give props to the players who are being aggressive too, right? Like, they've been active this whole time. Yo's got quite a few spears out here, though, and over here, there's quite a few spears as well for Licks. He's going to go for the market. And Yo's going to see this. And again, with faster Lithuanian spears, you really think that you shouldn't be losing an additional villager here, but you're going to lose an additional Vil. But so did Yo, by the way. And Yo could lose more. And now this is round 2 of what happened before, but Licks is... Oh, God, you could tell he tried a similar thing. And now I think he's like, well, I might as well just kill the Vil, even if I lose all my scouts. And it's not bad. 3-2 Eco KD. 5 villagers total killed this game between these players that know each other very well. But guys, Licks didn't scout this archer range. He's never gone to the front. He does not know that there were going to be archers. And like 3 archers and a spearman, it could ruin Licks' day here. I mean, Licks will have to be pushed off of gold. Licks could eventually lose villagers. He does not know. He's using scouts to kill, but he's not using scouts to scout. He's also sold his stone to click up to Castle Age quickly. He wants to maybe all in this in Castle Age. Yo's eco balance is not perfect, but I think this switch with the archers is going to do so much damage. And it's really something. If you've seen your opponents on gold, like he saw this a while ago, I think you even need to expect it, right? There's no other reason for Yo to have 3 on gold that early, unless you think he's up to Castle Age. And so this is going to be now a situation where you've got to defend with very little after clicking up to Castle Age. And I think Licks is going to... We'll really get to see what his damage control skills are like. Because, you know, the best names are still going to be able to get themselves out of this position. Yeah, he doesn't even try. No quick wall attempt, just abandons the wood line. That's bad for Licks. And this is a really good sign for Yo, as Licks now... Oh, God. Oh, man. I mean, he'll still have farms, but he's just going to go to this gold, which is really, really resourceful. But, again, a sign that things are not going well for him right now. And it just... Again, it's like the things that we become accustomed to for the big names of recognizing gold is there, knowing archers will come in, adding some skirms ahead of time. It's just Licks is going to take risks today, and he will take risks to beat some of these guys. And maybe he knew about it, maybe he didn't. I'm going to say assume he didn't. Now he has to try and figure this out. And Yo, like, it's so easy for Yo to balance this game out now because he just sits the archers here. You don't even move or micro these. You micro whatever other group you have. And it just slowly whittles down villagers anyways. I think had Licks just continued to create scouts, in all honesty, the couple archers wouldn't have accomplished much, but he just chose to go castle. But castle he will be. He'll be in Castle Age. He'll have the ability to make knights, and Yo hasn't even clicked up yet. Licks killed as many villagers as he's lost in this game. The efficiency's been painful. Worker efficiency last minute, down to 58% here for Licks. And obviously 75% overall, so he's received more pressure, but maybe he can kill this. He's not going to be able to make too much just yet. But his villagers are somehow still alive. His villagers over here have gotten back to wood, which was a sneaky move. And with 2 knights, I think he might be able to do this. Meanwhile, Yo knows counterattacks could come. Yo going to get his walls down. Yo rarely has holes in his walls. And I think he will be able to wall up. He's not taking any risks. He's got 5 villagers walling up. I'm wondering if Yo will consider going cav archers in this game. Because you can go camels with the Mongols, but I feel like cav archers would be a very natural play against mass knights. Yo scouting now. And scouts are going to be so important here. I could see Yo adding more. I think on Arabia, you won't see Yo add more. But against Lithuanians, I think it's always worth it to have an extra one. And here come those knights. Licks should just save the weak ones here. Very well played. You never lose a knight here. That's sloppy. You could tell he tried. But, you know, really should have pulled that one back to get the conversion. So just some small things here for Licks, the promoted player. As he tries to balance out his eco. Yo, now 20 seconds from Castle Age. There's the second range. And yeah, this will be cav archers. So... You know, these knights could still find value against a small amount of archers here. Yo's going to run forward with them. And there's the additional scout. Yeah, I feel like this is where we rarely see Yo lose games, right? The opponent has had to use the market to balance out the eco. You feel like you just stabilize and ensure that you don't die to this early pressure. And then life is good for you, right? And then plus Yo with cav archers is just so beastly. The second stable from Licks is because he's behind. He's got a lot on gold. He wants those relics. He wants lots of knights. There's 11 relics to find. +1 attack on the knights can be very strong. Yo will recognize that. Yo kills another knight there. Again, I think that falls into a category of a knight you probably shouldn't lose. This is not an army that really should threaten you too heavily. It's much easier to micro the knights away, but this is maybe Licks' weakness as a player. He did not pick the maps we expected. He actually banned Socotra on the draft, which we thought, you know, many of us thought that you would pick. And you see that Licks spotted that scout. He saw it, and he's like, I'm not going anywhere near that thing. And there comes a knight to go kill that, which is really nice. Anyways, Yo, second TC on a wood line, on the stone. Wood upgrade coming in. Farm upgrade coming in. Third TC is coming up as well. The knight and the scout are going to face off there. There's that third TC. Good positioning on a wood line. Kind of hard to find good wood lines on this map. I think Yo got a conversion here, which again just continues the good cycle for Yo, and then he deletes that knight. Yeah, that was a converted knight. Sorry, I was paying attention to Yo pulling the scout away, which is also a nice touch. And there he kills a monk. So that scout can actually go home to heal up. And I think Yo knows there's another monk out there, or there might be near the monastery. Really wants to prevent the relics coming in, so he's looking. The relic is gone, and he sees another monk. Yo is just, it's just, he knows where to be all the time. And it's just, he's just sitting back easily booming behind this. He will have such a big economy lead. And while people want to get excited about the Mangudai, and rightly so, because it's one of my favorite units, and it's one of the best units in the game, you can just go Cav Archers. There's still faster firing Cav Archers, and it feels like Cav Archers versus Knights is a really nice play. So Lix is now in a position, again, it is pretty much all in. Yeah, I think if you try and drop town centers, you're just behind now. But every conversion has to happen. He needs some siege mixed in as well. And oh god, it's all just not working out here for Lix in his debut here in Platinum. He loses more monks. And then Yo also gets to spot the siege workshop. So Yo's like, oh, he's gonna add siege too? That's fun. Beautiful timing there from Yo just in the last moments to get the house wall down. And that could have been a moment there, maybe, for Lix. And look at Yo. He gets close to the Knights before he starts the conversions. There's a better chance you get the conversion then, right? Because the monk is wallowing for a bit longer. And the scouts, unfortunately, thrown away here for Yo. But again, looking pretty good for him right now. Lix needs more Knights, more siege, more monks, and it all needs to happen shortly. Because the Cav Archer mass is only going to get larger. Yo is only getting closer and closer to a castle drop defensively, which would pretty much solidify his position here. So yeah. Someone says, is this on the most recent patch? Cav Archer should have better accuracy. I'd love to be using the most recent patch, but we are using the old patch because the most recent patch is a bug fest. So we are not using any of the recent balance changes, and that may be the case for the rest of the season. I don't know. I'm trying to work with Microsoft to get a plan there, but it felt unfair to the players to have them play on the most recent patch. So we're using the patch from last month. And honestly, Yo, playing like there's 500 ping lag between these two. Excuse me? Aren't you guys like next door neighbors? They should be very low ping here. And Yo gives Lix a way back. Potentially anyways. Like that was rough. You have the mobility to run away from the fights. Also, that is having the extra attack on your Knights paying off there a bit for Lix as well, because he's got that +2 attack due to having some relics. So maybe a bit of a chance here for Lix to get a snowball, but I think Yo being on stone right now is just such good preventative care in case things start to fall apart. Yo, I think, is the best player in the top 10 at timing castles, defensively or offensively. Sorry, Doubt, for the offensive comment, but seriously, like, he's just so good. And I feel like, you know, he's known for the forward castle, but the defensive castle is something he does a lot as well. And now watch this be denied. After I say that, these are some weak Cav Archers, and Lix knows it. Now, Lix is going to dive. He's got a TC to worry about. I like how Yo added the Knight here. I love the pathing as well. That's wonderful. Siege is going to be picked off by the Knight. Here, the Knights are through. Here, Cav Archers are going to sit on gold with the Camel, though. So Yo kind of left himself a little bit exposed with this. Yo does have a market, so he could buy the stone right now. He's got lots of villas exposed here, but he's going to town here. No ballistics for the Cav Archers. He's got a 20 villager lead. He just needs to stabilize at home and probably get that castle down, and then Yo will probably have this game. It feels like the Cav Archers are still going to be enough for Yo. Yo will have to back away from this eventually, but you're happy to do that. The attack from Lix, it did do damage, and it killed more villagers than Yo would have wanted to lose here. But ultimately, Yo is going to be able to stabilize this one and drop that castle. A little sloppy at times from Yo, but it's because he's a macro player, and he's had to focus a lot at home, so I don't think the KD is going to be something that he's going to be that impressed with when he looks at it at the end of the game, but the resources collected will be huge. When isn't a new patch a bug fest? I mean, I think we've regressed. There was definitely a point where the new patches were like good and the game was stable. A point where it didn't feel like we needed patches for performance, you know? And now it feels like we're maybe, I don't know, a very long way away from it. So we'll see. I mean, I just don't want players. I don't want players experiencing big issues in a big tournament. So, you know, it's hard to make those decisions sometimes because when things are new, there's always people that are like, yeah, we want the new changes. But ultimately, it'd just be unfair for competition. It's not fun to deal with as a tournament host, to put time and effort in setting things up and have that to deal with as well. But it's just kind of, you're used to it at this point, you know? Crazy upgrades for Yo. He's gone for more eco upgrades and also more military upgrades. And he's also going to be mixing Mangadai now. So I think for Lix, I mean, he's been 1 TC this whole time. He's hoping for bigger and bigger engagements. He does have that extra attack. He's up to 10+4 now. But I think Yo can so easily just pull back to his castle here. And Yo will have a 30 villager lead soon. And we might even see Lix tap out. Lix has been pretty far behind for a while now, which has kind of led to me talking about some other things, because this is just Yo in cruise control. He's actually, if he is concerned, he could actually just go for camels in combination with the Mangadai. Mangadai are hiding in that castle right now. There's no real tactical reason to do that, but they are. Yo getting Lycav and getting armor, which is interesting to me. I feel like, you know, making lots of stable units right now doesn't necessarily bring you a lot of value if it's not camels. Oh, yeah. Yo did pick Romans on his draft. Someone asking about Romans. So I think we might see Romans in one of the next games. But ultimately, I think a game that on graveyards comes to me a result that comes as expected thus far, you know? And that was my worry for Lix in this series, is that Yo knows him too well, and that Yo is, you know, obviously a better player, so did feel like Lix is going to have to do something different. In this game, he played around his win conditions. Lots of relics and lots of knights. He's got 10+5 attack on these knights, which is no joke. But Yo's just like, whatever. He'll probably drop another defensive castle. He just wanted to get rid of the Cav Archers so he can play with the Mangadai. Does have to be careful, though. There's 13 knights out there with lots of attack. Yo kills a monk and then backs away. In the process, loses the Mangadai. Yo also using some of these Lycav to maybe snipe the siege, maybe snipe the monks. I would have dropped the defensive castle here if I thought the knights were going to come into my base. But Yo's just so confident he doesn't feel like he has to right now. He's having fun. Who wouldn't want to have fun with the Mongols here? But you are exposed to a raid, Yo. You've had the stone. Like, he just doesn't want to place the castle back here because it's too defensive. He wants it somewhere else. He's got a 50 villager lead. I mean, Yo's going to lose vills to this. Lixus just needs to spread out, find different areas. And he's going to find it. Yo warming up for the next game here, perhaps, with these quick houses. And if these knights find targets, they will meld it pretty quickly here. And the Mangadai number is still only a 10, and that's not even what's on our screen. So there's a lot of hitting and running that has to happen here, allowing Lix to hit other areas. But Yo drops the castle up here. So perhaps way more defensive than he would have really wanted. But this is definitely him thinking, I don't want to throw this game right now. Pretty sure I've got this one in the bag. I think there's been a couple surprises for Yo, and with the engagements, he's probably like, whoa, that didn't go as planned. He has Thumb Ring, he has attack, he has full armor, he has Mangadai, he'll have 2 castles with the stone to make a 3rd. He's got 3 town centers. Lix is continuing to still stream in knights. There is Yo with a random Lycav, killing a bunch of vills here. That's insane. And Yo is forced to drop the castle we kind of thought he could have dropped before. Yo losing more villagers. Yo is on the way to Imp. Yo has lost like 20 villagers this game. Lix continues to lose all of these gold miners. The one Lycav, he got 6 kills before going down. And Yo's idle time has been ridiculous, but he should be able to win this game in the Imperial Age. And the GG's call from Lix, I think he realizes, yeah, there's just no way at this point. I'm seeing so many castles. I know he has town centers. I see 2 castles. And I'm going to lose my army here, and he's going to get the 3rd one up. So Yo gets the first win. So, you know, in my opinion, I think the big thing in this game was Lix was hoping it'd be a Night War. He was maybe expecting Yo would go for Step Lancers and Camels, and he just didn't scout that archer range. And the archer switch from Yo gave Yo so much time and so much value, even though it didn't result in that many villager kills. And then Yo was able to have the type of game he wanted here where he could just chill out, get some walls down. And Yo also did an exceptional job. He did an exceptional job delaying the inevitable knight all-in, right? Picking off monks, killed a couple of the early knights with some archers and spearmen. Yo just got really good value, and then the whole time his eco was flying. Yeah, Yo lost 30 villagers in this game and ends the game with a 40 villager lead, and that just shows you how good his eco was. And he collected 10k more resources. Again, it did feel like that game was just going to go Yo's direction after the early cav archers came out. Yo created, he had a total of 123 villagers throughout that entire game. For Lix, it was a total of 71. So there's a 50 villager discrepancy there. But, you know, that's game number 1. That's our warm-up game. Now it is on Lix to snag that win. He's going to get a home map now that he's chosen. It's El Dorado, where anything can happen. Hopefully, it'll be a result for Lix. All right, so El Dorado, catching up to live time here. They didn't have a spec delay. We've got Lix again in the red, playing as the Chinese. And he picked this first, and this is also his home map. So there's lots of food underneath your town center on this map. It's 350 food per deep fish. And then you have the deer, and then you have the boar, and then you have the water aspect on the outside. But what makes Chinese ridiculous here is that, you know, the weakness of Chinese typically is you don't have food at the start, and you have all those extra villas. Well, there's food right underneath your TC. It's fast food income, so you can get to creating villagers much faster than any other map. Now, on this map, the majority of the stone and gold is in the middle, and it is visible. So, visible at all times, that typically is the area players will want to focus on in Castle Age. 2 tiles of stone, 2 tiles of gold available near the player town centers, and then water on the outside is going to be nice. Now, I'm curious how this plays out in Platinum as a whole, because someone made a comment, which is fair, based on what we saw in Gold just now, and then also I've seen some YouTube comments where people are just like, listen, I don't like El Dorado. 1 castle in the middle and it's over. First thing I'll say to the people who believe that, go watch Vinchester versus Cyclops from the group stage. It'll blow your mind. There were actually 3 castles in the middle for 1 player. I'll leave it at that. There was a lot of things that went wrong in that game for both. It was very messy. But castle in the middle doesn't always ensure victory. Just saying. But then the other thing is, I really feel as though the approach has been bad for the losing player in El Dorado and Gold more often than not. It's not a map players practice a lot. And then some players said that's a good reason for me to practice it. So I'm going to have a good build. I can think of so many examples where player let a castle go up in the middle because they fell behind in feudal age, in my opinion. So, but let's talk. I want to talk specifics, okay? So what I found is that the water was valuable. Wow, we have a mill from. He's milling the shortfit. Sick. He's actually not going to dock. That surprised me. Well, Lix is going to go full land presence then. Does that mean you farm here though? Like, what do you do later with Chinese? You farm? Because Yo has picked Khmer so he doesn't have to mill to farm, so he could just place farms when it's messy. But okay, in the event that both players are fishing, I guess I can speak more generally because we're not going to see fish from Lix. I think what I've seen is the players who win more often than not are the players who prioritize land control before they prioritize water. And they try and squeak out extra fishing ships because it's a long journey through a tight choke point to ever damage someone's fish. So, like, let's say Lix goes double dock, okay? Big investment. Then he goes tons of wood and gold into fires and starts sending them through. The defending player could just invest into 1 demo and 1 fire and defend for more ships in this choke. And then where did all their wood and gold go before that? Well, they're investing into the middle area. So that's kind of how I see it in terms of, like, the failed approach. But it's very difficult to get it right. So I'm not acting like it's easy here. But yeah, both players definitely going to go for scouts here, right? I'd be shocked if they don't. Still not sure I am that happy with the fact that we're not seeing a dock. I think maybe it's just a little less achievable with the Chinese. You do have a lot on food at the start to recover, which means less on wood. And at least right now, based on what I'm seeing, like, Lix really... He wouldn't have had the wood to also dock and add fishing ships and get the barracks and the stable up on time. Yo sees the barracks, which shouldn't come as a big surprise to him. And Yo has quite a bit of food banked up, but he's got 4 fishing ships behind this, and this is a big deal. I feel like, you know, the fact that you have to mill for farms now, and you have to make your farms around the mill now if you're Chinese. You know, that, you know, maybe combined with, as we just have a random Licks villager walking forward and a random scout attacking the house for some reason. Is Licks going to kill the house? What? I don't understand what's happening. But yeah, I just think it could be a little weird for Licks post-turkey here. Post-turkey and post-fish. He's got like 800 food there still. Guys, I think Licks is walking forward because of the distance between... Well, he hasn't docked at home, but... Because of the distance problem with the fish, I think he wants to go for a forward dock so he can consistently send things in towards Yo here. And Yo scouted the shoreline. He does not see a dock. And the mill should tell him that Licks will not do so. And I think it's very likely as Yo comes back to even push in deer, and Licks is like, no! We will not allow it! I think it's pretty likely that Yo will never scout this if this dock goes up and fire galleys start to come out. And that's going to be the play. I like the play from Licks. You have to punish the fish in some way. And had you docked at home, Yo would have saw it, and Yo would have made his own ships in defense. Now Yo's thinking, I just got 4 fishing ships I never need to worry about. And this is just going to be a scout war here. Other bonuses to remember, the Khmer can hop in those houses. So, pretty easy if the going gets rough later on for Yo. And again, eventually there's going to be farms. And then you just make some houses out here. It's okay to be exposed. Okay, and this is where the fire galleys need to be masked. Notice how Yo is not going to gold. Notice how Yo is not paranoid about this. He does not feel like this is an issue for him as he goes for early forging. But Licks saw the scouts pass through the middle. Also saw the scouts had left. Whoa, lag, sorry. Also saw the scouts had left the area. And Licks attacked the turkeys. Kill the turkeys. Okay, well, I thought he was going under there for the turkeys originally and ends up losing some precious scout HP. But he was defending here. And that was my initial point, is the fact that he defended very nicely. Walled up because he knew the scouts would be over. Finding it hard to do damage right now, though, isn't he? At least when it comes to the villagers. And this is going to come as a big surprise to Yo. There's still a villager there. I think she'll be okay. But there's the fire galley. And Yo isn't on gold, so he can't make more fire galleys. So this could kill all of Yo's fish. And I think this is one of the rare times you're going to see Yo surprised. Maybe in all of Titans League. That is a really good adjustment from Licks. Because Yo can make 1 fire galley, but he's already 1 behind. And there's a second one on the way. And Yo can't do that unless he mines gold. Yo did go for a lot of scouts in this game, though. He's got 7 scouts. He's got forging. He's got armor. So any scout war, he will dominate. And now you need to farm soon if you're Licks. Also, Licks adding a dock here for fishing ships. Oh, I like that too. I'm worried for Licks that he's going to lose all of his scouts, though. Like, it doesn't seem like Licks' scout micro has really been that good. Like, it's honestly been quite poor. In the previous game, it was all right. But, I mean, like, this here... That's sloppy. Underneath the TC, it was sloppy. There's a little sloppy. And Yo's not going to hesitate against spears because he's got so many scouts. And with this space, Yo can then farm like a madman with the Khmer. So I would prefer Yo's position. This is an issue. Those villagers, where are you going? You can't farm underneath the TC. So, you know, Yo lost a fishing ship or 2. Maybe only lost 1 in all honesty. But Yo has dominated every single fight in the middle. And I'm worried for Licks. It's a great strat. And he might kill these fishing ships, but what happens now? You need to find space to farm, and your farms have to be around mills, and your mill was here. I think ideally he would have taken better fights, so he had more scouts to compete with Yo. Because if he's got like 5 scouts now with a couple spears, it's okay. But he's got 2 scouts, he's got 2 spears. And here comes Yo. I mean, this is like, this could be some stellar damage here. For Yo. And Yo sees the farms, and Licks says, nope, not today, pal. And actually, that's not bad for the spears. It's not horrible. That one spearman's the real MVP in there. This is really good for Licks. Considering the amount of army that Yo had, I think Licks will take that. Yeah, that's very good for him. Again, pretty much dominates water now. So, 37 eco units for Licks. It's 36 for Yo. Res collected this game will be fun to look at. It's very close. Yo tries to kill the farm. Lix is going to add a new mill. And Lix is going to drop a market too, thinking about buying food, because this is where Castle Age becomes really important. Yo, going double range kind of reminds me of the previous game where Lix is trying to use the market to go Castle Age for knights, and then the archer switch could surprise him. And yeah, I mean, if Lix doesn't have walls down everywhere, could obviously be a big issue. Guys, I bet you any money Lix sells the stone. He's going to sell his stone. That's what everyone does these days. Watch. He'll sell his stone and buy food. He's like, oh no, I might not be... Okay, he's not selling his stone. Never mind. Never mind. These fishing ships still aren't dead? What in the world? Well played, Yo, there. Stone is still there. And now archers are coming across. So I think you have to get used to looking at the middle on this map. I don't know how frequently players do it. I think you've just got to pay attention to that, because those archers could be spotted. And yeah, so because of the way this map works, he sees it. He'll drop a tower. The farm position, even by my standards, awkward. But I think you could argue that Yo's position is slightly worse than Lix's right now economically. I mean, you should argue that that is the case due to the situation with the fishing ships. The bloodline's coming in for Yo, and this has been a really good El Dorado game. Again, I feel like Platinum's going to give us better El Dorado games because players might have the better approach. There was the Dock Villager for Lix. That's the first eco he's lost this game, guys. He's killed 5 eco and expanded. I love the sneaky fishing ships behind all this. I also love how he's sniping the archers now. Those have been great picks. And more villagers on stone can be helpful later if he wants a castle or towers towards the middle. Yo's fighting with full scout upgrades, and it's been 0 scout upgrades for Lix, who I think spotted Yo coming forward. He placed a tower foundation. Yo wants to tower this woodline in this stone area. But Yo doesn't know... Well, maybe he does know, but... I was thinking he didn't know that Lix was on stone. Lix needs to force down his tower fast. Lix definitely needs to get some blacksmith upgrades for his scouts. And Lix, again, sees the archers, tries to kill the archers, and then brings in the spears. Yo's going to kill the spears, though, so it's an interesting engagement. A lot of gold units have gone down for Yo in this game, which might be an issue for him long-term. I think Yo would have loved to have sent his archers into the tower there. I would just like to see double stable scouts from both right now. Just go crazy all-in feudal age. Obviously, that would be advantage Yo right now in terms of upgrades. So... You know, awkward times for Lix at the moment with his wood eco. Is dropping a blacksmith back here. Yo has found some of these fishing ships, which is well played from him. Lix is going to come deal with this. But he's still got some fishing ships around. That's something we haven't shown a ton because we've been focused on land. Lix has 500 gold remaining. Yo is actually mining stone and gold in the middle right now. And he has about 500 gold remaining on those 2 tiles as well. And Yo is through, but, like, where are the scout numbers for Lix? Lix is going to buy food. Lix is going to try and click up here. Feels like he really needs something more, because if Yo's scouts get through, they could find so much damage, but Lix is just going to wait. He's like, this is my way. Even if you lose a couple vills, it's no big deal if you can get the knights before your enemy. Maybe that's what he's thinking. He's got tons of fire galleys now. He should win water, so he should have more fishing ships. It's just all about lands now, and Yo is going to dive here, I think. He's got archers, he's got scouts. These upgrades are insane. I'm surprised Lix didn't make more army before clicking up for this reason. This is going to be devastating damage. And so Lix is just hoping, you know, his fishing ships are going to be enough. He drops another tower here, which he had to buy. He will be back on stone in a second. And the towers are all kind of in range of one another. And the TC as well. So the scouts are kind of going down. But this takes Yo up to 13 villagers killed. And counting. Yo still hasn't clicked up the castle. But as I say it, he clicks. Interesting stuff. I mean, again, just the idle time is such a big issue for Lix here. All you're looking at is idles. As Yo continues in with towers too. Yeah, no fletching. But no, fletching is in for Lix now, sorry. I mean, Lix is going to have to sell his soul. Where are we going, dude? What's happening? Hello? Okay, well, at one point in time, Lix had clicked those villagers on the scouts. And then he forgot about it. And didn't notice it because maybe he was looking here. That is rough. It was already bad, but then tossing away 3 villagers that you could have easily saved, that's a bit of a yikes moment for Mr. Lix. But he's in castle. Yo, you best start walling up your villagers in the middle. Yo's got full vision, full control. I think he's really happy that he forced Lix into towers. That way Lix doesn't have the stone for a castle. He's really gonna focus on this area because that is the stone for Lix. Stable for Yo, but Yo's resources looking ridiculous right now. But he will need to defend from knights. Knights that have armor. Knights that won't be up against any spears because Yo doesn't have a barracks. This is very doable for Lix right now. Yo's going to have to work hard. There's the walls. Knights should be aiming to probably clear up, use some of the knights to clear up the forward, but some of the knights getting to the farming eco maybe. Look at the idle time for Yo. He's like, oh crap. Those villagers don't have jobs. Now Yo going to make some of his own knights. And Lix, I think your play has to head towards the middle soon. I think Yo wants you to try and deal with this long term. Yo does not want you to be able to focus on the middle. Just passing from Lix. It feels like these knights, they've wasted a lot of time here, right? It feels like they could be somewhere else, doing something else right now. It's actually kind of killing me to see these knights not heading over to the exposed areas. But this is what happens when you're the weaker player and when you've been under a lot of pressure. Let's see how this goes. There's the TC. Now, Yo is his own knight. Yo does not have monks yet, and Lix will have monks. There's a monk on the field. So this is Yo's point of view right now. Do you TC so you deny the gold from Yo? I think you do. Yeah, Lix is going to do it. And Yo's trying to run into the main eco to keep Lix busy, but Lix is like, I'm busy at your base, boy. Or, well, not really. I'm busy in the middle would be more accurate. I think you can take losses here for your Lix and still feel somewhat comfortable. You've got a monk on the way to maybe get some conversions, and you're going to take the gold away from Yo. And Yo's villagers have to flee. They have to go somewhere. This is why Lix chose this map, because he can take some risks, it can get messy, and that can be good for him. Should still point out he will eventually lose access to wood. This does get cleared up by Lix. Well played, Lix. He's on the gold now. So Yo, a big thing here is he doesn't have monks. He can't make camels, and he never mined this stone. I'm shocked. Like, okay, he's doing it now, but I think he almost forgot about that. And, I mean, this is... Don't farm in the middle, bro! What are we farming in the middle for? It's fine. Anyways. Yeah, the concern for Yo is the fact that he can't castle drop the middle right now, and he can't really counter camels that easily. Lix gets a conversion there. Lix could get another conversion here. And it's an amazing conversion, too, because that knight has to stay to kill the monk, and it's weak, and it won't... Oh, it will get the kill. But still, great value from Lix. The goal for Lix, who's lost 25 eco this game and only killed 6, by the way, which is nuts. The goal for Lix in this group, every time he's up against, like, the big boy, like, obviously, or one of the big names, like, and Yo is obviously one of them. Yo's the #1 rank in this group. You get 1 win. Just 1 win. You're probably not going to win the series. You get 1 win, and that can last you throughout the rest of the group stage. And this is his moment. Yo is super heavy on stone. Something Lix can't do because he ran out of stone. And Yo's actually going to mine some of the stone on the front. And Yo's still aiming for villager kills. Is going to find even more. Will lose his knights again. But that feels like his way back into this game. Is just getting those villager kills. As he has been doing, in all fairness. Now, that's a lot of idle time on the food eco for Yo. He does have more over here, though. This is all why he picked Khmer, and... I'm not seeing Yo know what to do without gold at the moment, guys. Like, he's going to try pikemen. Love it from Lix to just run right in with the knights here, though. I'd like to see him save the weak ones and heal them up with the monks. But also, sometimes the game's too messy to think about that, and knights are... Even if they're on 15 HP, still going to do a great job at killing villagers. Well, maybe not, actually. I think the first part of that statement is probably the best one. But it's messy, all right? It's really messy right now. Yo gonna clear up the Knight right somewhat with just Light Cav at the moment. And Yo's still banking up stone for a castle. These archers from Yo will go down. What a game, guys. This has been really competitive El Dorado game. I think Lick's kind of had it. He's like, the faster Castle Age is my way to victory here. The Monk Edition was perfect. And he got the TC in the right area. He could have so easily gone for the safe TC, but exposed farmers for Yo. Yo at 11 wins out of 15 games in his second season. I don't think he lost any games to promote. No, that's not true. He did actually. He lost one game to Draken, who was a promoted player in Season 2 at the very least. I remember that. We talked a bit about that yesterday, but still, it would come as a disappointment for Yo. Maybe not to lose to his teammate, because he'd be happy for Licks, but to lose to a promoted player here, and it'd be awesome for the group stage to see Licks be able to get the W here. Okay, Castle can go up. Yo's got 5 spears. Here come the Vills. Oh, God. Oh, God. Yo's committing. This game is about to be turned on its head. Yo's committing. Licks he could see it. Can Yo get the quick walls down? Yo, quick walls. You got too many Vills. Too many Vills to quick wall. They're blocking too many spots. Oh, no. And now there's a tower, but... Oh, God. I'm pretty sure this castle could still go up. This is wild. Meanwhile, Yo... like, kind of losing villagers here, and Licks is bringing everything from the raid to come try and help here. But yes, that castle goes up. And Yo will then be able to mine gold. And Licks can too, but Licks is going to have to mine it all the way over here. So Licks gained the lead in this game. I mean, there was some huge risk, obviously, to get the middle. He gained the lead, but Yo has stayed alive. And now that that castle's up, Licks is going to have to make sure, maybe even delete the TC. He needs a new town center over here. He could think about a castle or towers. And there's still, you know, all of this to worry about. There's still the food eco. Best of luck to the villagers out there. It's going to be a tough day. Licks also has villagers trapped. Did Yo wall that? I think he did. So those villagers are just attacking the castle. That's kind of funny. Well played from Yo there, I guess. Yo's going to make a ballista elephant right now. You feel like you might need to tower if you're Licks. But honestly, you never really want to. Because you want to save for your own castle. And if you can castle here, delete the TC and the farms and castle here, then Yo can't take res and you still can. So really tough game to call. This has been great. And water still matters, but I mean, not really, right? I think a big deal for Yo is that he doesn't have the resources for pikemen at the moment. Fighting with just spears, I mean, with that many spears, you're going to be fine, but that could be an issue. I think right after I finish that statement, he's probably going to get pikes, but... It's so nice to be Khmer right now, though, with your farms, right? To not have to worry about where you place your farms is so nice. Great job from Licks, though, to keep these spearmen moving. Yo... Also, while he has the middle, he can really only take gold safely or with that one tile of stone. So that's kind of awkward. And look at Licks, still mobility. Res collected. Yo's collected more. Obviously just hasn't had the stone and hasn't had the gold, but has had the wood and has had the food advantage. Castle's going to be in for Licks soon. I think you have to delete your TC to place the best castle because you need it here. Right? I mean, maybe that's too crazy a statement. Well played from Licks. Use the fires. Yeah, that helps. Every little bit helps. Fires will actually go down, but now your knights can get away. Okay, deletes the farms. He could still have the town center. And pretty soon, Yo, he might have wood. And he might have food. But he will not have access to gold if this castle goes up. That said, Yo's castle fire kind of helps. So neither, you know, so Licks doesn't want to fight underneath it. Here we have units looping back in from Licks. He could so easily lose because he's distracted right now. Yo will defend there. Yo is finding villager kills here. The gold is actually blocking the foundation. The ballista elephant is also not being too kind to these villagers, but the castle will go up. And, I mean, Yo, he'll be behind in villagers. You have to imagine the ram won't actually be enough here. We'll probably just see some villagers come out from Licks. He'll sacrifice it. to take out the Ram. Mangonel there will maybe go somewhere else. I think Yo's going to have to start to shift his attention to the wood and the food eco of Lix. And he could still win the game that way. See, Lix isn't taking out this Ram either. I feel like he can always repair it later, but just worth mentioning. Knight there goes in for the Mangonel. Very nice find there from Lix. Guys, Lix's food and wood eco is abysmal, though. Like, it is not good compared to Yo. Look how many farms Yo has right now. So, yeah, Yo should just go Pike like Cav. Say, I don't need gold, and go for the main eco. And then Lix has to consistently try and defend from that. Lix, I think, is going to rely on Chukunu more than anything right now, which is a really good unit against Pikemen. Pretty good against Light Cav, too. But this is kind of fun, right? Like, you've got the middle, but you've sacrificed so much to get it. You have most of your economy there. Most of the fights are there, so you don't look at home. And Yo is going to get some beautiful raids in here. Ram ended up going down, so the castle for Lix will stay up. It's been down for a bit. Lix is just slowly repairing. Lix is building up for a second castle. But what a fun game here. I mean, it is still so close. Because it's Yo, I feel like Yo can make this happen. That's what's wild. He can get these relics, maybe get some gold income. But I think Lix's position has to be better, right? On this map, it has to be the preferred position, even with how messy this is. Bodkin arrows in, affects the TC, affects the castle, affects the towers, affects the Chukunu. He could still take wood here. But he can't move out anywhere because Yo has so many units. That's what's wild. Like, you can't even, if you want another castle, you can't drop it here because it could get denied. You can't really drop it here yet. Yo, being annoying with that Vil. Ada Siege Workshop, and I think we know that's going to be Rams to push this eco. Yo's just going to stream like Kevin randomly all the time. I don't think that's enough Chukunu to kill the amount of light cap that Yo has. I think Yo's going to see this and be like, yeah, let's go. Let's get some kills on this. And he gets a conversion, actually, with his monk that collected a relic. And bye-bye Chukunu. Bye-bye Chukunu mass for Lix. Oh, no. Yo is 31 on food. God, I love the fact that right before this, someone said, I like El Dorado, but it feels like every game ends when a castle goes up in the middle, and we've had double castle in the middle. We've got Lix with full, like, not full gold control, obviously, but he's got access to the resources that have, you know, ended games. The players didn't have access to them in the past, but I was like, I believe that there could be this beautiful flow of one player has the food, one player has the wood, the other player has the stone and gold, and it can still swing either way. I love it. Thank you, Yo, for supplying this game. But also, like, thank you, Lix. Because I thought you were going to die in Castle Age. You've got to make the castle somewhere, right? So it's either a defensive castle if you never want to defend against this, or you know, somewhere towards the middle. You could tell he's building up a mass so he can place it somewhere that he feels is important. But that light cap mass is pretty ridiculous right now. And GG! Ah! Lix thinks he's going to lose the game, and he still might, but why are we GGing in this position? Hello? Hello? Oh, all the happiness I have just disappeared. Now, Lix is experienced, right? He knows this position is bad. He has all this confidence from Yo, and I was fully expecting over the next 5 or so minutes for Yo to find ways to push this, Yo to find pickoffs, and for Lix to have a hard time. Like, these light cap, there's no answer to them right now, okay? There just isn't. The light cap will go here and try and raid this, and Lix will consistently feel helpless. He will. And I think Yo's probably going to end up winning this game. But I feel like you got to maybe let his opponent, like, make the opponent earn it a little bit more. Maybe it's a score thing. Maybe if you were to tell Lix right now the Vil count's 58 for him and 56 for Yo, that he then thinks, okay, what? I would never resign. It was a great game. Disappointed to see Lix doesn't fight on a little bit more there with the situation that we see he's in. But Yo, I think ultimately because he's just a freaking beast is going to win this game. And Yo played amazing after not having access to gold. It's really good. I love the control he had in Feudal Age. And I love the Khmer pick for this reason, because if the game gets messy, you can still live without gold. I mean, there's the res collected. I think score influenced Lix's decision heavily. 5,300 score versus 6,970. Wow, that's one off from 6,969. I think, like, you know, that is probably a big reason. Lix must have thought he was behind by more villagers than he was. Res collected, he was really far behind in food. And food and wood would have been his downfall eventually. But sorry for the disappointment there, guys. It was like everything we wanted. And then Lix, unfortunately, called it there. I understand it from his perspective. He will have felt like he was losing this game. Even on El Dorado. Because it's Yo, and because of the amount of the light cap spam that was going to happen. But still feels like when every game matters, you've got to try a little bit. Like the stone, place another castle here. Place a castle somewhere else when you've got it. But lots of things to look at. Anyways, well played, Yo. Yo up 2-0 in the series. Obviously, Yo's got a home map now to play on, so will be tougher for Lix to get a win. KD was 137 to 132. Again, res collected, we talked about a bit. It was a very good El Dorado game, despite the disappointing finish. And everything else here, if you're curious on seeing it, looks like speed somewhere between the two of them. Yo prioritizing the food and the wood. Lix prioritized the golden stone. Was really good El Dorado game there. What kills me is there's games where he won't resign, where it's way worse. Yeah, that's true. Like, for a player like Lix to resign there is also pretty baffling. Like, for someone who gets tilted easily, resigning early wouldn't necessarily surprise us, right? And Lix is known as a bit more of a fighter than that, so. All right, so game number 3 coming up here. If Lix can get a victory here, suddenly, you know, I think game 2 is forgotten and there's less frustration for many people who are Lix fans out there. I predicted a 3-0 here for Yo for good reason. I also, unfortunately, predicted Lix will eventually be relegated, but he's the 6th seed in this group, essentially, versus number 1. It is expected that it would have been a struggle for him today. Lix is the Bengalis. Great late-game civilization. And then Yo is the Burgundians, also great late-game civilization. Cheaper eco upgrades, and being able to research them an age earlier for the Burgundians. And cheap stable upgrades. It's really strong gunpowder. Suits Yo's style because it's eco and stable units, which is just Yo's thing. Lix, I wouldn't necessarily say is the craziest all-in player, so I doubt we're going to see any crazy monk shenanigans from Lix, but I think we will likely see a more boom approach. It wouldn't surprise me if both players are just trying to stop the other from getting relics, and that this game goes to the Imperial Age. But yeah, game 2, a sign of maybe some things to come with El Dorado, guys. Like, I think if that's Yo versus someone who's maybe a bit more adaptable with saving villagers, it doesn't take as many risks, because Lix, like, I guess it's a double-edged sword. He was in Castle Age faster and thus got to the middle faster because he took the risks. But I feel like maybe you could have made more defensive army before going Castle Age. But even still, the reason we picked El Dorado for this season is because I have some very distinct memories of years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, there being really good games where one player has the golden stone and the other doesn't. And we had a taste of that in the second game there. How exactly does this tournament work? Is it lose, you go out style, or more like football tournament? Yeah, so the way to break it down is there's 2 main leagues. You have Platinum, which is the top 24, and then you have Gold, which is the league below it. Each league is comprised of 4 groups of 6 players. The bottom 2 in each group at the conclusion of Platinum gets relegated down to Gold for the next season. The bottom 2 in Gold gets relegated down to Silver for the next season. So basically, if you don't perform, you're out. And then 4th place position in each group stays alive in that group for the next season. 2nd and 3rd place goes to playoffs. 1st place in Gold goes up to Platinum next season instantly. And then in this case, in Platinum, 1st place gets a bye in the first round of playoffs. So to simplify it, if you do know football, That is obviously European football. Or I guess not necessarily European. You know what I mean? Like real kick the ball football. There's promotion relegation. But it's always play all three. And so since it's based on wins first and foremost, you can lose sets and still have important results for yourself here, right? You have to assume Yo is going to 3-0 a lot of other people. So snagging a win here suddenly makes you be like, oh, that's amazing. Especially because in theory, Yo is only going to get better with the settings as the weeks go on. So maybe everyone is scared a bit for a better player or against a better player. Yeah, for sure. It's very easy. Like, you have a good understanding of how skilled you are as a player if you're in the top 100, right? So, like, this ambition of, like, oh, maybe I can, use my skill. Maybe my skills are going to be better on the day. It's not really there, typically, because you played everybody a lot. And so Licks would just have this understanding. It's like, Yo is just so good. And the problem is, it gets in your head, and it affects your strategy. Because you think, I can't play my game because I have to do something different now because this guy counters me. Or it's like, my opponent's in a better position. I assume he's going to do everything perfectly with that position. And so I just resign now, right? Very easy to think that. And I think for Licks, he might end up going pretty aggressive here in Castle Age because of that. Maybe feeling like, it is Yo's home map. It is his preferred pick. He might feel as though it's just not that realistic for him to take this late against a player like Yo. Especially when, like, back to the whole knowing each other thing, these guys are like buddy-buddy. They're talking to each other all the time. They like practice together. They're teammates. Like, if anyone's going to have an understanding on Yo's skill and have faith in Yo as a player, it's going to be Licks. I think that was part of that for Licks in the previous game. I appreciate you calling football instead of soccer. Thank you. Well, I mean, it is soccer, but I've triggered enough of you before where I just don't say that word anymore. But soccer. There you go. It all depends on where you're from, all right? All depends on where you're from. Can we agree on that? I don't know. People have got a little bit out of shape about that whole thing. Here where I live, it's soccer, okay? But I typically say like football and American football because, now you ruined it. I know, that was part of the joke. That was intentional. Just trolling. Anyways, Licks being this fast to feudal was a surprise to me, but really making use of the +2 villagers you get when you get to the next age. And the faster feudal means you got some valuable hits on Yo's scout. He's up. I thought with that uptime he might sell his stone or something, but no. He could boom off this if he really wants to. I don't know what his eco plan is, but yep, wood upgrade, farm upgrade. Probably will add some farms. It does still feel like it's fast enough, though, where this is for an all-in. Yo running this way with his scout. Licks obviously knows that because he's chasing. So he takes this as an opportunity to run forward with 2 villagers that are not loomed. So he wants to go Spearman Monk play, knowing Yo is over here. I don't think Yo is going to make the scout in time, because usually Yo is going to go for eco upgrades here first. But I mean, if he made a scout, he could actually kill both of those villagers. Yo is actually making a spear because he wants to save his initial scout, and so the spear is going to head to the right. And then his scout is going to loop all the way home. So. I remember when, like, this is prior to the definitive edition, majority of the real dedicated scene called our game AOC, or Age of Conquerors. But, like, then it was like you were, like, a casual if you called it AOE. It's like, that is that AOE 1 or is it AOE 2 or is it AOE 3? Don't even get me started about AOE 3. There'd be that type of thing. Oh, God, come on, dude. Okay, one of the villagers goes down, but it's fine. He's still up 3 villagers because he's Bengalis, and there's the monastery. And Yo loses his scout, too, so actually I think I'd take that trade. If I'm getting free vills as the Bengalis, anyways, I would trade killing a scout and losing a vill, just because Yo is distracted there. So now Yo knows that you can't build 2 buildings at once now, if you're Licks, but that at least it's going to be monks. But I don't think this ever really was going to come as a surprise. Yo was always going to add stable. Elix's scout here, very close to going down. This thing's still very likely to go down here, but he's making another spearman. But important reminder, this is not everything to Lix. He can still boom. He can still add eco. Weird pathing there. I thought the scout would get a hit. And there's the second TC for him. So it's not like this push is... He's dependent on this push working to win the game. But Yo will recognize that. It's just one lonely monastery. So I think Yo knows that probably won't see redemption to convert siege or anything like that. Wow, that's nifty from Lix. Put the monk in this little opening, so now the monk can actually threaten some stuff here. Lix did lose his scout, though, unfortunately for him. Who organizes these tournaments? This is my doing. JBR is my admin, if you'd like to thank him for the work he does. But yeah, this has been, this is like kind of one of my babies, you know? One of my dreams. I think this is really important to the future of the scene. And we'll see how it goes long term. The first couple seasons have been great. Yo, picks off the monk. Very well played. And this villager is really dancing with the devil out here as we see a siege workshop now. I just don't have a ton of confidence this push is going to accomplish much with Lix, you know? Well, at least he didn't finish the siege workshop. But now, you know, there's going to be some potential problems because Yo could start to push out. But Yo has just been on one TC. So Yo is going to be behind in villagers. Lix has struggled to keep villas producing all the time, but, you know, anyways, he's got time to do so. He's actually going to squeeze in redemption, which is incredibly expensive. So he can use monks to convert the siege. So I think the hope is these spears push the light cav away, and then he surprises Yo by converting here, but... Again, just doesn't really feel like things are playing towards whatever the plan was for Lix in this game. And now you've got one monk and you've invested into redemption, which is around 500 gold. The conversion has to have some type of payoff here for you to feel good about the direction this game is going. And obviously then the monk's going to die as well. Well, actually not necessarily, because you do have the spear still. He's still trying to hold on to the position. I think Yo played it perfectly. And like we said, boom, stable units. It's perfect for the Burgundians. It's perfect for Yo. And this is Yo's home map. Okay, here's redemption. Yo's probably like, what? Oh my god. Yo had to kill his 2 light cav, though. But now the monk's here. Now the monk can convert. I mean, convert. Convert it. You don't have to stand next to it to convert it. Okay, there we go. Yo should delete that. It's a Bengali monk. Okay. Well, I mean, Scorpion goes down. Monk versus Ram. Don't kill your monk. Don't kill your monk, Lix. Don't kill him. No, delete the spear. Ah! Oh, God, the spear died. No! No! Stay away! Ram versus monk. Oh, no! Oh, don't lose it. Oh, God, there's a light cav. Ah, what's happening? Okay, monk goes down. Ram's still alive. Kill the ram at least. I'm trying, guys. I'm really trying. Kill the ram? Maybe? I don't know. This is something else. Mangonel, scout, monk, action, ram, scout converted. Okay, well. I mean, all behind this Lix is booming. So... It might not look like the push is doing much, but he's dropped a lot of farms. He's on his 3rd town center. So I'm going to give credit to Lix here. His barracks is still up. He's held this position for a very long time. He hasn't been pushed by Yo at all. I think these are some positives. Ultimately, though, I think a player like Yo with map control is going to lead to some big problems. And Yo's on 3 TCs. Yo also with 1 relic already could so easily snag this relic, could so easily snag this relic. This relic he doesn't see, but Yo should have some great late game resource control. So yeah, it was an interesting little micro battle there. Um, I'm gonna press this after the fact for Hardy to go back and watch that weirdest fight ever, like 2 minutes ago. We can toss it on extras later or something, but but we look at the fights. But what I didn't show was the expansive eco here. The difference between these guys and you, viewers, is that you would have just looked here, and your TCs and your eco would have been forgotten. No offense. The resource control was actually very nice from both of them. Very nice balance. And I like the decision that Lix is going for here. So many players just say, okay, I brace myself now, and I try and defend. But no, like, why do that? Why give Yo the opportunity to push you easily when you just add your own light cap here, right? Like, it feels like the natural move with this type of game. And I think Yo's going to be a little bit surprised by this because he's wandering forward with his monk and his siege. He's like, oh, crap. Nice attack round, actually, from Yo. That was beautiful. He almost kills the light cap there. But yeah, this will go late. Obviously, Lix can just make a few more light cap. But this makes... It's just very little investment with this type of economy. Just to stop Yo from pushing forward. And we are going to have relics collected eventually for Lix as well. Looks like he'll at least get one. He doesn't see this one either. Yo found it, so Yo will head home. Yo will have 4 relics. So that is not a good sign for Lix. That definitely puts Lix in must push before the relics start to pay off mode. And Yo just casually going to go for TC number 4 as well. All right, so just thinking about how the game might go. The Flemish Revolution is a tech that, in my opinion, makes very little competitive sense now with the change they made to it. It's a whole thing. They added it to the game, and it's very all or nothing tech. I didn't like it when they brought it into the game. Same with a lot of other players. And we felt like it should be removed from the game, but it's still in the game, right? So they changed it, so it's based on the price you pay to change all your villagers instantly. The army is based on how many villagers you have, which was their attempt to, like, balance it, right? But it's, like, at times too costly. So long story short, I'm kind of wondering... Yo's up 2-0 against a friend. He's going to have 4 relics. Big, weird, awkward fight here. It's going to end up going really poorly for Lix. Does Yo try the revolution in this game? Just to see, like... Does he try something that maybe he doesn't even feel like it's strong? Just to see, give Lix maybe a shot? I don't know. Like, what do you think? I'm going to say no. Because he's coming forward with this castle drop. And unfortunately for Lix there, just didn't have the numbers he needed. And... behind this, I think Yo will click up to the Imperial Age. But before I saw the villagers coming forward, I was thinking Yo might be tempted to give us a revolution test. Give us a competitive example of it in a tournament since they've made the change that everyone else feels like should make it so you should never research it. Just to flex? Yeah, I was like, you know, just to trash talk him. So well, a very... unfun thing here for Lix right now is that he needs a castle in a good spot. And he's like, I need a castle up so I can treb this down. But Yo is already up. Like, this is really looking bad. Yo's got 4 TCs. His relics bring him food, plus obviously the gold that comes in. He's got great eco upgrades, and he's got full map control. This looks really bad for Lix. But since this is the only time I'm going to be casting these two, I beat Lix in a tournament like a year ago, at Open Classic. And when I hung out with Yo last time in Germany for LAN event, he told me that he makes fun of Lix for that constantly. Like, Lix, you lost to a caster. Like, he even asked me, he's like, when are you going to play tournaments again? I want you to beat Lix, because I can never get tired of making fun of him for that. I was like, thanks, Yo. Thanks, buddy. I can't take a lot of credit for it because it was a tournament where you draft civilizations for your opponent. And I think Lix didn't know that because he gave me some pretty solid civs. I mean, maybe he knew, but it was like, yeah, make fun of him every week. Every week I bring it up. He lost to a caster. such a pleb. God, what do you do? Like, you don't know what units to go for. Anything you go for, Yo sees. And then he just switches into a unit that counters it. You can't really leave your walls. There's Lycav out everywhere. You do get more vills out of all your TCs when you hit the next stage, but again, it's like, where do they even go? And like, Yo, faster to the Imperial Age, drops castle number 2. This is just a player who feels like he can do no wrong here, and it's moments like these you think back to the previous game and maybe the opportunities that were there for Lix to maybe stay in the game. I don't know. Now, if Lix were to fight until he's beyond dead here, then we would judge him hard for game number 2. But it's not. He's not dead yet. Yo getting a little bit too crazy here. He's getting his castles denied by an Elephant Archer and a Ratha and villagers. He's had the army available. Now, Lix doesn't see this, though. And the Lycav are killing all of these villagers. And Treb's on the way out for Yo. Feels like Yo will just kill villagers that are out here now for Lix. And this castle will ultimately go up, which is why I think Yo was a little unworried by it. And he's just converting Elephant Archers. A really good unit with the Bengalis, but just switching sides now because they're getting converted. And the GG's called. I think Lix had the right idea. So, like, I think he had the right idea with the backup Lycav play. But I think he made too little army. I mean, he just took a fight he thought he would win there. And, you know, he never had the numbers. And Yo did a good job to maintain the numbers. It was just the whole game, the perfect amount of investment from Yo, both in eco and in military. Beautiful balance. And then went towards his win conditions in the Imperial Age. Yo's just one of the best players in the game. And Yo won his group over Leary in the previous season for that reason. He's just really, really good. Unfortunately for Lix, he doesn't really start the group looking all that hot, but I think I saw some promising signs from him, and Lix is not a player I've ever known to be one who prepares a lot. And that is a negative, actually. Like, if you're a promoted player to Platinum, if you're not a player who's practicing a lot of these maps, I think that is going to be bad for you. But the positive side of that is things went wrong today. He got to think a little bit about how to tweak things. He now has a full week to get to see how other players are playing because this is still kind of early round 1. And I think Lix will also get a little bit stronger going forward here. And obviously the positive is he doesn't have to play Yo anymore. And everyone else will have to play Yo. And the opponents will, in theory, get a little bit easier. I will quickly take a look at the group. Let's just like remind ourselves. We'll always show it on YouTube at the start, but let's just remind ourselves of the group since it's still early. Hold on, that's the previous season. I'm so sorry. Just give me 1 second. Here we go. Take a look at season 3. This should be it. Yes, this is it. So that was the first series we've seen in this group yet. We've got Daniel, Doubt, Lix, Running, Valis, and Yo. Just ridiculous group. I mean, all the groups are nuts, but the talent is stacked the whole way through. The Lix is going to have to look for wins against Daniel, the other promoted player. Look for wins against Running and Valis, who barely held on in the previous season. It should be much tougher for him to get wins against the Doubt and Yo, I'd say.